Religion has many victims, and these are the stories of how they survived. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Awakening. I'm your host, Heather.
And I'm your co-host, Tamara. Welcome in.
At The Awakening, we have open and honest conversations about healing and deconstruction, and we are so excited to be back with you guys again this week with a really incredible guest. His name is Stuart Delony, and he wrote a really incredible book, didn't he? Welcome in,
Yes.
Stuart. I want you to tell
Welcome
us just a
in.
little bit about your book, and then we're going to start talking to you about how you
Yeah.
got to the point of writing the book.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, it's exciting to be here, and this book is really. I wrote it's a piece of satire. It's kind of a straight faced. It's almost like a government manual, but it's for the apocalypse. So it's kind of one of those things where you're just like, oh, wait, can we swear on this podcast?
Yes,
How's this going?
absolutely.
Oh, okay. So the whole premise is kind of like, oh fuck, I didn't make it. I wasn't raptured. What do I do next? And so it's really just taking all of the stuff that we grew up on, all of the trauma that we were given about the end
Yes.
times and the rapture, all of this conspiratorial ideas, and teases it out to their logical conclusions. And here's a manual for how to survive the tribulation.
Yes,
And beyond. And beyond.
it's so funny, you guys, and I'm definitely going to put the link for Stuart's book in the show notes so you guys can find it because I was telling him before we even got started, I was laughing my butt off reading this book, and it really was healing because if you have sat in a church anywhere, you have heard about the rapture, you have been threatened with those messages. We all had fear. Like I remember seeing demons outside my bedroom window as a kid because I was so terrified that, I was gonna get snatched away. But this is the reality that we grew up in.
Yeah.
Like for us, it was real. It wasn't make believe. That fear was real. So to have a book that does play on it and make light of what was used to terrorize us is
Yeah.
really incredible. And I really do appreciate that.
And
No,
let's just be honest, it's not just our churches that used the fear of the rapture over us.
Yeah.
It was discipline, it was
yeah.
parents, it was
Yeah.
family, it was other people. If you didn't clean the house good enough, God's gonna come and we can't have this house dirty. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It
Yeah.
was like a baseline. When I was reading the excerpts of your book, I was cracking up because I was like, I forgot that my mother used it as a state of
Yeah.
holiness and
Yes.
godliness.
It was
Yes.
trauma fuel growing up with that.
Yes.
Constantly. Yeah. But you're right. I love how you did say that. It was maybe it was a good teaching method for them to like conform us to make us do what they
Yes.
wanted us to do.
It
Yes.
Yeah,
worked.
through
Whatever it
torture and
did, it
fear. Yeah,
worked.
Yeah,
it did.
Right?
It
fear,
really did.
fear
It really
was,
did.
it did. It ruled my childhood. Like in
Yeah.
every aspect of it, it was all fear because we were told not to step outside of the line.
I heard this once. I heard it a million times. My dad would say, "Bless God, you fear man, and you are to fear me."
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
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 Yep. Those were the threes. You got
As
it
he
all.
was ripping off his belt to whip us.
Yep.
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 Yep. Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Stuart, what
Yes.
what was your background? Like, were you raised in the Christian faith?
Yes, I was raised. My background's a little weird. I guess all of us have weird backgrounds, right? That brought us to this place. It's the gift of trauma growing up.
Yes.
So much
But
fun
I,
unpacking.
I know, I know. So I was raised like my dad was very much Southern Baptist, so
Oh,
very like
Okay.
conservative Southern Baptist. But when I was 3, my sister was born, and she was mentally and physically was handicapped,
Okay.
um, and what happened was that set my mom on a quest to try to get my sister healed.
Oh
oh,
To where
no.
like
yes.
how
Wow.
can we fix this disability,
Yeah.
and instead of actually dealing with like the reality of things and where we were at in the moment. So that sent me from like some moments I was going to Southern Baptist type indoctrination camps, and then the other one I'm going to like tent revivals
I was
where,
going to
where
say
I'm
you're
hearing
going to
Yeah.
Pentecostal stuff.
revivals.
And it was too, and it was
Yeah.
it was me seeing both of these camps growing up, which both rely on fear. So that
Yes.
was like the common denominator they had going between them. But yeah, that was kind of the start of my traumatic formation. Was going through
Yeah.
that as a child, and
And can I
So,
tell you, there
Mhm.
is nothing like fear if you walk into a tent revival.
oh my goodness, it's a
Oh,
whole
it's
different
it's
reality.
sweaty and it's
Yes.
intense. Yeah,
And people act crazier. I think they act crazier at the tent revivals and the revival services than they do at just a regular church service.
Well, yeah,
Because
because you're falling out in the dirt, you're
yes,
rolling around in the dirt. I mean,
And
instant
you've got
revival.
to one up the next person, because you've got to have more Holy
Yes.
Spirit, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that guy's only barking in the Spirit. I'm gonna just be falling on the ground and laughing and I don't know whatever in the Spirit.
No,
Rolling
I
around, and
remember.
they would be in church clothes, and when they get up, I remember their shirts being black and them looking
Yeah.
and going, that was one service, that was the best service. And I now I look back and I'm like,
Yeah,
really?
they were crazy.
Yeah.
I remember though as a kid, like somebody catching the laughter of the Holy Spirit, and I asked my mom so many questions, like, what is wrong with them? What
Yeah.
is going on right now? Right? Like I had no clue. It scared me
Oh my
half to
God.
death. And they're like, oh, it's just the Spirit of Jesus, honey. She's being blessed.
I have to
No,
Yeah.
say
she's
this.
having a
I
psychotic break right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I have to say this. Our youth group would pride ourselves that we would go into the prayer room and we would stay there until we would be drunk and laughing in the
Yes.
spirit.
Hmm.
And I was a participant.
Yes.
And when people say that, sometimes now they'll talk about, laughing
Yes.
and falling out in the spirit and stuff. And I'm like,
Well,
let me step out of the
we
room
would do the
backwards.
we would do the cry nights. We would do the cry
Hmm.
nights where we would have the kids come to the
Same.
church and play the worship music. We're
Yep.
going to worship and we're going to spend time with the Lord. And that just always ended up being an emotionally manipulative
Absolutely.
service to manipulate these kids. That's all it was about, was getting these kids to spill their trauma in front of other kids, because you got to use the testimonies, to get
Yeah.
other kids to give their heart to the Lord. So you're using one kid's trauma to basically lure another kid into thinking that they're traumatized and they're garbage. It's such a vicious cycle. Like, and when you actually can see it, like on the
Hmm.
outside looking in, you can see how horrible it really is. When you're part of it, you can't see all of that.
And the
So,
other thing is that we search for patterns. Our brain looks
yes,
for
Yeah.
patterns. We look
yep,
for things that are repeated over and over again, right?
Hmm.
So
yeah,
for us, it wasn't foreign. It,
yes,
it
It was
wasn't
familiar.
unusual. It
yes,
Hmm.
was how church was supposed to operate.
Absolutely.
yeah,
And the funny thing, it's not funny anymore, but if you think about it, exactly the way I was raised in the indoctrinated type of churches, I
Hmm.
took those patterns and put them into my daily life and
yeah,
put them into my work life and put them into my mothering life and put them in, you know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so you could see those same patterns repeated in my life in the different roles that I play. And
yeah.
it's insane.
It is, but
So,
it's conditioning. It
yes,
conditioned you to see the
absolutely,
world in a certain way, to where, like,
absolutely.
don't look at reality, but listen to us, and we'll tell
Yes,
you
Yeah,
what
yeah.
reality is really like. Which
yes,
again, like you said, like, Tamara, like, you take that into all of your other areas of life,
yes,
where it teaches you not to trust your gut, it teaches you
yep,
not to trust who you are, and it continues to just make you either look towards the heavens, towards
yes,
what could happen, or kind of just navel
Yeah.
gazing and being
And when you
judgmental on the
and
flip
when you
side.
go into deconstruction, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you realize that, and I say this every week, the Bible never, this good old holy book
Hmm.
is just a book of satire for me. Once I was undone in my brain,
Hmm.
it was gone, right?
Hmm.
But I promise to God, sometimes the indoctrination, I'm like, okay, I got it in my work
yep,
life. And then I was like, well, now it's in this role. And, oh, patterns in that role. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
oh my God, will I ever get done
Hmm.
deconstructing
Deconstructing.
Yeah.
indoctrination?
Yeah.
Yes. And
Fuck.
that's exactly what it is. And you don't realize how much it's woven into every aspect of your life until you're outside of it, right?
Yeah.
And there are just little things, microaggressions is what I call them, that'll just show up. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, I got to deconstruct that too?
Oh my God. The other
Yeah.
day, and it probably goes right along with your book, but I was at work and I was uh, uh, weighing parts in a box, and it tells you how many pieces are in a box.
Hmm.
Instantly, it came up 666. No, listen,
Uh-huh.
my
Hmm.
brain was
I'm
like,
leaving now. I'm leaving this
Yeah.
podcast now.
my,
You're
my,
cursed.
You
my instant
cursed.
thing was like, I reached in the box to take one out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I busted out laughing at my place. I'm like, what the fuck did I just do?
Uh-huh.
Like, what? Honestly, I'm like, I don't believe in it. I don't, it means nothing to me. But
Sure.
instinctively, I was like, oh, I
Yes.
can't let that end on that one.
Yeah.
I know it's funny because when we were in church, like we would make fun of people that that are superstitious.
Yes,
When
yes.
when
But
what is
we were
this?
afraid of everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was just all phobias we were just handed to, and like that's. I mean, it's kind of one of those things to where I think the ones of us that were the most devoted, and the ones that cared for the Lord the most, what they really gave us wasn't devotion; it was hypervigilance.
Yes.
So that's we're constantly. Oh no, we're constantly
Yep.
scanning everywhere. Like, oh no, Satan's going to be around the corner. Something's going to happen. What's going to go on? How am I
Yep.
going to screw this up? And that's just it's trauma fuel. It is
That was
absolute
me.
trauma
I
Gosh.
was
fuel.
always waiting for the enemy to thwart me in some
Yeah.
way. Like I just knew it. Like if
Hmm.
life was going too good, the
Hmm.
devil was just lurking around
Yep.
the corner, getting ready to slash one of my tires or, do something to throw my entire world upside down because we were poor for so long. So
Hmm.
something that big or small, just getting a flat tire would have been so big for us, like such a
Hmm.
big deal. And I think about that all the time, how I used to anticipate bad things happening more than I ever anticipated goodness in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
when I left South Florida, I moved to Michigan and became a part of Word of Faith Church with the Rhema Ministries, Kenneth Copeland, Jesse
Oof.
Duplantis, right?
Oof. Oof.
Bishop
Oof.
Butler.
Oof.
I was part of
That's
Bishop Butler's church. But I
that's
remember
that's grifter
like
heaven.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember getting ready because they had this great big huge elegant ball thing going on. And, if you got 10,000 people in your church, you got a
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good divorce group, a divorcee group. So we all so we all dressed in gowns. The guys were all dressed in tuxedos. And as I was walking out of the house, I looked at the girl from Word of Faith that was standing there. I was like, "Can you do me a favor?" And she's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Please go to the car first, because if we get struck by lightning, I only want it to be me."
That's crazy.
Ever when because I was dressed sinful, I was dressed
Oh
ungodly.
yeah.
I was
Oh,
dressed that if the rapture came, I would not go to
yeah.
heaven. My shoulders were showing,
Oh,
my
no.
collarbones were
Oh,
bare.
oh no.
But
Now
my
I know why
Yeah.
you go
first,
by Jezebel.
Mm-hmm.
but
Yep,
my
it's true.
first instinct was to my girlfriends in a church
Yeah.
Yeah.
was, "You
Yeah.
go first because I'm going to get struck by lightning."
That's crazy.
We were afraid of everything. They just taught us to be
Yes,
afraid of everything.
Thing.
Yeah.
everything. Like,
Yeah.
movies. And I say this all the time. It was movies,
Correct.
music. Like, I even posted a video on my TikTok today. Like, I remember when they would send those things in the mail to get those CDs, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And I had ordered them. I was trying to sneak. I wasn't allowed to listen to that kind of music, but
I did the
I
same
was
thing.
going to sneak and get
I
these
did too.
CDs. So
Yeah.
I checked the mail every day and I got those CDs and I had them hidden. But I was a kid. I didn't know that they would send a bill in the mail, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when my dad found out that I had had those CDs and I had the devil's music, he was so mad and he destroyed all that stuff, right? And
Yeah.
I laugh when I look back on it now, but how sad is that? That it was
Mm-hmm.
literally Ty Hurden and Alanis Morissette. Like I'm thinking about the music that I was listening to.
Oh,
It
slippery
wasn't
slope.
even really bad stuff, right? But at the same time,
I
I was
know.
going to hell for that.
Yeah.
You
And
weren't singing Juvenile? I
Yeah.
walk with a limp because my.
no, I was allowed to sing like Hosanna Integrity. And then when DC
Mm-hmm.
Talk came out, oh, I ate that up because that was the coolest Christian music I was ever able to get my hands on.
Yeah.
And that was really out of the box for what my parents would let me listen to was being
Mm-hmm.
able to listen to DC Talk.
Damn, ours was not even. We were not allowed to listen to Christian secular music or like
Yeah,
Christian pop
yeah,
music or anything.
yep,
So
Oh
and
gosh,
so the
it was
farthest
too
I got
it was
was
too secular.
yes, yes,
so what I got stuck raised on is the old rugged cross.
yes. And I mean,
Oof.
so what led
Yeah.
you, I know you went on to become a pastor, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, what led you to going from being a pastor to deconstructing?
It kind of felt like, I mean, even going back to being raised in the situation I was in, I started to begin to see in these two different camps. Um, if you're around a bunch of this enough, I started just getting like a kind of a BS detector
Yes,
in it, because you start to see inconsistencies in people,
yes, over and
and
over.
yeah, you would see it, and so even though like my mom would never see it, but I would continue to see this and to be like, huh, and I would just watch over and over, and it was the thing where I loved just the ways of Jesus, but church didn't always completely make sense to me. And then eventually I went into ministry because I was like, I can obviously do this differently. And then and
We
then
all think that, don't we? Oh, I'm going
I
to
know.
be the one to change
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah. I've got the magic sauce. And so going through ministry, it was always kind of trying to find the right fit, where I really felt like, because I would find inconsistencies in these denominations where they didn't really care about reaching people that they'd like to talk about. And then
Yeah.
so I would move to working for a different denomination and try this. And so trying different tribes. I worked for an evangelistic organization as well too. And really what I think I'd been deconstructing for a while because I was just questioning stuff. And it wasn't out of being wanting to cause problems or anything. It was really just out of curiosity of wanting to know more. Like this doesn't seem to make sense to me. Like we're evangelizing like crazy, but what are we inviting people into? We're just
Yeah.
really trying to get them to pray a prayer, check a box, and move on.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not the gospel. That's what is this? And I think what really broke my back, which towards deconstruction, it was the total straw that broke the camel's back for me, was seminary. And I absolutely loved it, and it absolutely ruined me for ministry.
Yes.
And it was great. It was wonderful going through that, but it told me at the same time, I was like, nope, I can't keep doing this if I'm going to be sincere.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, I think, deconstruction, deconstructed me out of being in ministry.
Yeah.
And but I just kind of kept walking and kept going because I was still curious. I'm still trying to find answers
How
as well.
did your family respond to you deconstructing? How did that go for you? What did that look like for you?
Luckily, like for me, like personally, like my wife and I, we were walking through it. We kind of were, she'd be ahead of me a little ways deconstructing, then I'd be ahead of her. And it was just kind of, there was a shuffle between
Yeah.
us. There was lots of conversations, lots of questions. Raising kids in it was interesting,
Yes.
as well too, because, when you're still working for churches, you still kind of
Oh,
have to, you're trying to figure out what you're doing. And I remember,
yes.
like, when our kids were younger, like my wife and I had gotten into a phase where we would be driving home from church and we would start yelling. Like we would get in these conversations because we were so mad about what we had listened to, like the sermons, because we're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is just, it's infuriating. And our kids like asked us, they're like, Mom and Dad, are you guys getting divorced?
Oh,
And it was just like,
no.
oh no, oh my gosh, no, we were just so
No.
angry because none of this makes sense to us. This is just all bullshit. And but I think family at large, no, I don't think completely understood it.
Yeah.
Deconstructing and walking that way, but you just have to
They
keep
don't.
going.
A lot
Did
a
you
lot of them don't.
Hmm.
did you deconstruct completely from Christianity, or did you deconstruct to a different version of what you felt was your truths?
I find, like, for me, I feel like deconstruction for me will be a consistent process till the day I die. I
Say,
feel like
Yeah.
it's always just kind of trying to figure out where we're going, where we're at, what is
Yes.
true. What are the things that are feeding me? What is nourishing me? What do I need
Yeah.
now? What don't I need anymore?
Yep.
So with that, it's for me like institutional church. Yeah, I'm like no, no,
Yes, I'm
no,
I'm
no.
with you on that.
Hmm.
I am.
I still
Yes.
feel attached to the ways of Christ, and I feel like living that
Yeah.
out. I feel like the conversation around this needs to continue. I
Yes.
think continuing to wrestle through the ways of Christ, I think matters, and I think also being in the space like you guys occupy, where it gives people that are having questions.
Yes.
It gives them a voice. It gives them words to be able to start to attach where they
mm.
were at in a process when they
Yes.
started to go, does anybody else feel this way? Am I crazy?
Yes.
Um, and
And
yeah.
that is so true, because when I was deconstructing, what you said about language is um, the hardest part of my indoctrination over 25 years has been the lack of the capabilities of articulating exactly what I'm thinking,
Yes.
seeing, feeling, thoughts, the questions.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to say some of these questions out loud because you're so taught that you're not supposed to question God. You're supposed to have faith. You're supposed to do it this way, and this way. And then, it was always so downplayed that I realized that finding my voice just to ask questions out loud,
Hmm.
Yeah.
get them out of the loop in my head,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
was scary. It was petrifying because I'm like, I am
Yeah.
saying this out loud and the devil now knows.
And you're asking questions that we were told that we were never
Yeah.
allowed to entertain, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
all of that stuff is so scary.
Hmm.
And like even me and you, like we've said it before, when we first started deconstructing, there wasn't all these spaces and all these
Nothing.
conversations happening, and we even see it with people that come onto our show that are new to deconstructing. They
Yeah.
don't have the language to articulate everything that they've been through
Yeah.
because you can't even properly name your emotions a lot of the times coming out of
Hmm.
high control religious spaces because you were
Yeah.
told to suppress so much of that,
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
And you were
that's
always,
another part of deconstructing is learning how to identify your emotions,
Yeah.
connect with yourself.
yeah. And with that language thing, if you used too big of words, you were being haughty, you were being prideful. You weren't allowed to use words that you had to use like everyday words. I
Yeah.
remember my pastor just like going crazy over
Hmm.
somebody articulating and using big words. And he was like, "You're being prideful, you're being proud, you're not supposed to do this." And I remember as a little girl, like saying,
Hmm.
"Oh, I won't ever use that word again." And
Yeah.
then it was like, what the heck?
But what a small man that is. You know what I mean? Like that
Yes.
he was just like somehow like a large word made him feel like, "Oh my gosh, I have to
Right.
like shut this down."
And this is a
That's oh,
child. Like a
I yeah.
child is making you feel that small. You need help, dude.
Oh my
But
yeah, but how many churches are run by small men like this
Yes,
that
that's what
like
that's
I'm
yeah.
exactly
saying.
what it
It's
is.
like people think that everybody's not that, not all churches. And I know I paint it with a general brush
Sure,
sometimes,
sure,
right?
sure.
But when you get to these smaller, high controlled religions, like I thought I was deconstructing because I went from apostolic Pentecostal cult to Word of Faith. I thought I had come a long way.
Hey, that is cult light, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
is
Okay, okay.
cult light. It
So
is.
okay, so you're there was a step down process. It
Step
was
down process.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You were detoxing.
Listen, it takes a
Or,
little bit
Ooh.
to get all the way out,
it does.
okay?
It's well, it's a
I
process. We
don't
have to
judge
walk it
how
through.
you get out.
Absolutely.
Like, don't judge me today. You have no idea which ones I've been through.
Hmm.
So, what led you to writing the book, Stuart?
Yeah.
It was one. Well, okay. The truth is, I was putting off editing another book I'd written because well, it was one of those things where it was a book I'd written, and I was like, it's not. I understood it intellectually, but I don't think it was me enough yet.
Yeah.
And so I put it off, and this one just started as me trying to think of like some trauma I'd had growing up, and what was a way that I could kind of be able to make fun of it. That would be like I can write a book being like all of this stuff is illogical, it's irrational, and
Yeah.
I could do it in that way. But I think that would close a lot of doors,
Mhm.
and so I did it in this way to be able to give people some sort of a way to be able to laugh at the absurdity that
Yes.
we grew up with, and this the whole book was just a small process of some I guess it was me kind of really getting in touch with my trauma and some of the memories I grew up with, because it was like I remember the Satanic Panic of the '80s,
Oh my
you
Oh
know,
my
goodness, yes.
God.
and for me it was I had gone it was like Christmas. I had gotten a He-Man, Castle Grayskull, and a bunch of He-Man toys. Well, then like a month later, my mom hears all of these are like demonic portals,
Oh
and to the
no.
afterworld, and it's like, hey, Christmas gone because we don't want demonic portals in this house.
Oh
And so there's
no.
lots of micro trauma that I know a lot of people have grown up with through this.
Yes.
Just the uncertainty, like, oh no, if I come home, what if mom and dad aren't there? What if they're raptured and not me? That
Yeah.
we were fed, and because it indoctrinates well,
Hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
make us like worried and afraid constantly, and it keeps us in a control situation. But all of this left
Absolutely.
scars, and so I think the book was a way to really be able to make fun of it,
Yes.
and yeah, put it to
And you
light and
did,
show the
and you did
absurdity.
a great job with it. Like I said earlier, like I was cracking up reading the thing because just the way you articulated things and, like the clothes just laying around everywhere. Because
Hmm.
Oh my
that was the
gosh.
one thing that they used to always tell us in church. Like there's just going to be naked people in the sky, which I
Hmm.
don't understand why God had to take us butt naked. Like
Yep.
with the church being so obsessed with modesty, I never
Yeah.
understood why we had to be naked to get raptured.
Bec- because souls don't know. It's our soul being raptured. So we don't know that we've left our body. You know what I'm saying? So our bodies, I was always taught that our body would be down here just working and we would freeze And the spirits would leave out of us.
See, I wasn't even told it the same way. I thought that we were all going to be naked, drifting up to heaven in our body and all. You were told
Yep.
that we were going to abandon our skin
It was
suit.
just like your Wi-Fi connection got cut, and then
Yeah.
you're just yeah, that was it.
We didn't even get the same story.
But isn't it interesting? Like, these are almost, it's like conspiracy theories. Like when people
It
have
is.
to try to like make it make more sense, we come up with
Yes.
more nonsense to do this, and we're like, well, because it's already defying logic.
Yes.
So then we have to try to apply logic to something that is already nonsense. To where, well, how would God
Exactly.
exactly do that? You know,
Mhm.
would we have our clothes on or not, or how? Like this whole thing, and I'm sure denominations would argue those 2 points.
Yes, and that's
Is it
why
souls
you would
or is
have
it
another
naked?
split,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just create another couple thousand denominations.
I
And you
know.
know what it did? Anytime you did something that you thought was sin,
Hmm.
right? Or in a compromised position, if you were raised in these spaces, you instantly were like, oh, please forgive me, Jesus, for
Yes,
what I'm about to
Yeah,
do,
yes,
for what
yeah.
I'm about to do, not what I'm
yep,
doing, just in case he comes while I'm doing that.
Hmm.
He knows I've
yes.
asked for forgiveness first.
Yeah.
My brother was actually married to a pastor's wife and our pastor's daughter. And I remember her, we were riding down the car one day and she was talking about doing something. She said, I know Jesus won't like it if I do this, but I can just ask him to forgive me later. And I was like, what the hell's the point? Like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
that's not how that works. Like,
I know.
what the heck? And I was a pastor's kid too, but I didn't take Jesus like that.
Hmm.
I didn't take advantage of him. So I didn't understand that train of thought. I didn't understand. I was so naive that I didn't
Yeah.
understand how manipulative Christians are. Like, I
Well,
didn't realize
yeah,
that actually that's more often the default setting
yeah.
than having compassion and empathy. I was a lot like you. It wasn't until I started studying the Bible because I want to know more so I can teach
Hmm.
it better
Hmm.
that I
But that's
learned
but
what
that's
I
what I
learned
just
and
did.
I couldn't unring the
Exactly.
Yeah,
bell.
that's true. Yeah.
That's
So
what I
so
just did with the 666 number, right? I'm like, wow. I'm like, I haven't never deconstructed that just because I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. Let me go down this rabbit hole today.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
like 3 days ago. So I
yeah.
started going down with the Emperor Nero and all of that stuff. And I'm like, Revelation is not a in the future prophecy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was talking about its
Yep.
day and
Yeah.
time.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Exactly.
I think if I would have like looked at Revelations 10 years ago, I would have still been filtered eyes, right? But
Yep.
now it was like King Nero, 79 AD.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Let's just line this all up. This was at the end of his
Yep.
it was at the end of his emperor, of
Yeah.
his time. They were talking about him because of the things that he did. And when you look at what the scriptures say about the end times, you could almost match it to what was
Yes.
happening in the Roman Empire
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
if you wanted to.
what's
It's almost like
wild
it's
is
not prophecy.
exactly. And it's wild because when you see this and you see it so plainly,
Yep.
it's so easy to see the way that you've been lied to and manipulated by people.
Yeah.
And the reality is like my dad believes everything that he's preaching, even if
Hmm.
he's not preaching gospel truth, he believes it.
Hmm.
Okay. I blame the people that taught it to him because he's just continued to sup at the table. And he's such a puppet. Like he has went so far down that mega delusional, like I don't even recognize who my father is. Like
Hmm.
I do not recognize him anymore because this theology has turned him into somebody that I don't even recognize
Hmm.
because he's all about who he hates.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that because this is the same man that taught me to die standing up for other people and taking care of them. You know what I'm saying? Like I was going to be martyred for my beliefs. So
Yeah.
that is what's so frustrating for me is seeing the people that I once believed were really good people and finding out they're really not that good after all. They've been really manipulated and they justify a lot of really evil stuff and they use the Bible to justify that. And
And they
I
use
don't,
revelations
yeah,
to make
they
sure they
do.
drive that point home.
Yes,
Well, but
because,
because it gives them permission, because
Right.
yes,
they read it as like Jesus. It's like white American Jesus that's going to kick ass and take names, and
yes,
throw separate the sheep and the goats. So that gives me permission to be an asshole now.
And
because I
if
know I'm
Exactly.
a sheep.
Yes, and if
So,
we believe that Jesus is going to come back and save us, then we don't have to worry about helping our neighbors in the here and
yep,
now because God's
yep.
going to take care of it.
Or the
That's
earth
not
is going
our
to burn.
problem.
The
Yeah, I
earth's
mean,
going to
all I
burn.
have
So,
to do is
yeah.
say a prayer and I don't have to lift a finger to help anyone.
Hmm.
And I spent, up 36 years, I was in religious spaces. I did
Hmm.
not help people hardly at all. I have
Mm.
helped so
Mhm.
many people since getting out of the church versus how many I ever helped when I was in it. And I think about that often too, because, we talk about loving our neighbors, but we never did it. We never went outside of the four walls of that church. We were always there. And even when we would have little events here and there, they would police who was allowed in certain parts of the church. And you're not allowed to let those
Yeah.
people up in the sanctuary because we don't want them going up there. And I'm like, that's where the altar is. Like you're
Hmm.
opening up this church to the community and you won't even let them up to the freaking altar? Like
Yeah.
they're not allowed to go be with God? I have a problem with that because
Yeah.
this is just a PR stunt at that
Hmm.
point if you're not even letting them up there at the altar. And it wasn't just that church, it was multiple churches. We had been in so
Yeah.
many different
Yeah.
ministries. Like my father was a pastor, so I have seen the inside and outside of it. My husband led worship for a while. Like I preach. So we have been in so many different aspects of ministry, but they all function primarily the same. It's
Hmm.
all about, elevating the man of God that's above that house, and he is above reproach. You cannot critique
Yeah.
him. You can't challenge anything he says behind that pulpit. If
Hmm.
any of his behavior is inappropriate, you can't say anything about that because you're taught, touch not God's anointed, right?
Yeah.
Do my prophets no harm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I have seen that type of environment create the perfect environment for abuse to go
Oh, yeah.
unchecked,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
when you've got it set up to where the system is more important than the people that it's hurting, we've
Hmm.
got a problem.
And the
And
other thing
especially if
is
one
too,
person in the congregation says that they hear directly from God
Yes,
God.
yes,
and they give
yes,
the word to you, that's that's also fuel
yes.
to manipulate anybody.
We
I
were
was reading
actually, yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
reading oh, I'm sorry. I was reading my journal the other day, and I had written in it on January 12th, 1997.
Mm.
I had left I'd left the cult, and I was going to a United Pentecostal church across town, which was like a step down.
Hmm.
Uh, and I was sitting in there, and in the journal, I said, my daughter got the Holy Ghost under Brother Kyle, and she's this and that. And I'm like, but what am I going to do about my mom? Because my mom keeps telling my daughter, only Brother Evans can be your pastor. You only have one pastor. You
Oh
can
my
be
gosh.
saved under any other
Mm.
pastor. Now, mind you,
Mhm.
my daughter is like 4 or 5, and
Oh wow.
that's a big deal for them to have the
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
Ghost back then as a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was deconstructing without even knowing I was
Yep.
deconstructing, because in the thing I said, I don't know how to make this with my mother. I don't know how to make this as okay, because I'm not going to be able to raise my children here under this influence. I may believe in one God because, I'm oneness of the Godhead, t- split of the United Pentecostal. We don't believe in the triumph. I'm like, but I don't believe in one man. What am I going to do?
Mm. Hmm.
Like I was still hanging on to the godness and oneness of the Godhead.
She's like,
Yeah.
I believe in
Oh.
one God, but I don't believe in
I don't
just
believe
one
in
man to
one
preach
man.
the God. And now she's like, I'm an anti-theist. I don't want nothing to do with it.
It just shows me my what my thought process was then as a young mom
Yeah.
of a child,
Mm.
of my children, right? Because I was only like 24, 25
Yeah.
years old. So
Oh,
I was
yeah.
so indoctrinated by what was going on about my daughter receiving the gift of the Holy Ghost and her
Yep.
getting baptized with Brother Kyle and Brother Kyle, and then here's my mom.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
not good enough. You're only
Yeah.
allowed to have one pastor, one
Yeah.
husband, one minister, one Jesus.
Yep.
And I
Well,
believed it.
and already as a mom, you're already like, I mean, I know as like as a young parent, we're already like worried that we're going to screw our kids up,
Oh,
and we
yes.
want to do like everything perfectly as possible, and then we
Yes.
have these outside sources being like, well,
Yep.
let me sow more doubt in here because
The level
that'll
of
keep you quiet.
holiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was based on the level of holiness and the level of fear. Our
Mm.
church, with the United Pentecostal Church may have been here, the UPC, right? Then the Apostolic Pentecostal like kicks it up like 10 or 20 notches because they're so much better. But even back then in 1997, I was
Hmm.
like, there may be a God, but I don't believe in these men.
Hmm.
See, you go,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
were the
Yeah.
pastors of the church.
Well, you had every right not to believe in those men, though, because you know how
Hmm.
abusive they were, too. But,
Yeah.
and I like, I kind of laugh when I think that I remember just meeting people back in the day and they would tell me that they weren't a Christian. And I used to think, oh, that's so sad.
I know.
And now I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, okay, that's awesome. What do you want to talk about?
I know
Like,
because it turned us like we turned us into judgmental assholes
yes,
in the way
it
we looked at the
did.
world too. Like we were terrified at the same time,
Yes.
but we were also like smug
But
a
if you
bit.
told me
Like
you weren't a
you know.
Christian,
So
I thought you had the most
self-righteous.
Hmm.
miserable life ever. I thought that you could never know joy or peace
Hmm.
or true love because you
Yeah.
didn't have God within you, and God
Yeah.
was the only one that could allow you to experience those things for yourself. And I
And
look at that stuff and I laugh because it's like you were so stupid.
Yeah.
and just so you guys know, I never had a problem not being a Christian because I was raised that I was not a Christian.
Hmm.
Oh,
I was apostolic.
oh,
Hmm.
that's right.
So
That's
when
right.
people would say, "Oh, are you a Christian?" I would respond, "No, I'm
No,
apostolic."
Hmm.
apostolic.
Hmm.
People were like, "Yeah, but you believe." And I'm like, "No, I'm apostolic." And
Hmm.
I remember that being so like profound that I was so glad that I wasn't a Christian, that I was apostolic, that when went outside the church, I was like, "Oh, oh, everybody's supposed to be Christians." I was looking around going,
She's like, we were all Christians. Like, and
Yeah.
I was a Christian too, just
God, I'm
didn't
not
know it then.
special. Oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
in here with all the other court Christians. I'm
They
like
talk
one of
about that a lot.
them.
And that's the other thing
Hmm.
they did, though. They had us all feeling like we were garbage, but
Yeah.
we were special garbage. Like we were better than the other garbage that was out there in the world. That still doesn't make sense to me, but we believed it. Like I internalized that messaging so hard. Like I still struggle with it, like self-worth is a big thing
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
that messaging, it just gets woven into who you are, right? So when you hear that messaging for that long, it takes a long time to undo that, like to retrain your brain to like tell yourself, yeah, you're not fundamentally broken at your core, right?
Hmm.
Like the messaging that you were taught was the thing that was fundamentally broken.
And
So
the best way to do it is through satire.
absolutely,
That has
it really
always
is.
been my when
Yeah.
something happens, I openly like make fun of how I was raised and what I
Yeah.
Oh,
believe.
all the time. Hmm.
I'm like the amount of daily fuckery if you
Yeah.
go on Instagram and scroll
Yep.
Pentecostal type churches,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and I didn't even know until this morning that Paula White is a part of the Word of Faith Rhema churches.
Oh
Oh, she's a
Lord.
nutter. But yeah.
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 I'm like, oh
That's
my God,
crazy.
Yeah.
that's part of
And
Paula
she
White
is just
stuff.
wow.
Oh,
Like I
She's all
love
star. She's like all star level, like grifter though. Like she's
oh,
up
she
there.
is.
Yeah,
She is, man.
she
She
knows how
is.
to get her back. Yeah.
Yes, she does. And it's wild because like she is so hated that she's literally hated by Christians and atheists
oh,
alike because
Hmm.
the Christians that hate women, they hate her.
I
Like,
know. Yeah.
women are not supposed to be preaching and teaching. And then you have the other Christians that just see her for the charlatan that she is, right?
Yeah. Oh
So she
gosh.
gets
Yeah.
called out for that, being a grifter, but I'm just like, wow, it's so blatantly obvious that she's a crook. Like, it doesn't even take that much research to prove that she's a crook with the divorces and the scandals and everything
Hmm.
else. And I'm just like, how is this possible, right? How is it that the worst people to preach the gospel have the biggest platforms? Like
yeah.
I don't understand it. Why is it the Mark Driscolls of the world and the Sean Foyts that, have these platforms, but it's because they're saying everything that, they need them to say,
No,
Yeah,
why do we fall for it? Just
but
average people, we get caught up. I was like all about word of faith. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You get so caught up in these MAGA churches and being a part of something bigger. And then whenever you actually look at it, you're like, this whole place is satire. This is
yeah.
ridiculous.
hmm
It's like a production. It's
It's
like
the
a
same way with
show.
Bethel Church. Like, I used to love Bethel. Like, I was hardcore into Bethel. Like, all their worship music, would listen to all these sermons and stuff like that. And then, in, recent years, they've had all the scandals and stuff come out
hmm
about the things that they have covered up. And, one of their ministers was literally, his whole ministry was built on lies. And they knew, like, over 10 years ago, and all they did is cover it up. Like, they didn't want it to get out because they didn't want it hurt their prophecy ministry
it is. It's
that
a
they offer.
brand.
Yeah. And
It's a
it
brand.
didn't
Yeah.
want to hurt their brand.
hmm
Yeah.
As a minister, how did other ministers and first ladies of the church react? And how do they react now to your book and stuff? I mean,
Yeah.
like, are they, how do I say it? I know a lot of ministers
hmm
that have been doing this for so long.
hmm
They don't believe it.
hmm
They're just doing it.
hmm
They're like, listen, what else am I going to do how else am I going to provide for my family? I've
Yeah.
been
That's
doing this
true.
forever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering because in our churches, a lot of times when we're in ministry, we become a part of these like hierarchy cliques.
Yep.
How did the ministry teach you? How did your denomination, and if you don't mind sharing, what was your denomination? And how has this affected? How did the book affect everybody else around you? Because I know you still have to have minister friends.
I do. I don't know. I think me being myself kind of like I never burned bridges, but I think some people would feel that way just by me being myself. I mean,
Yeah.
denominations I've worked for Southern Baptist, Foursquare,
Huh?
United Methodist, Churches of God General Conference, but not that's not the charismatic one. And I've worked for and it's
Why do we do this? We like,
that's the woo hands. It's like jazz hands, but I guess it's like charismatic hands. Um, but no, working in that, I mean, I think for me, it was what I've seen is that a lot of these systems, we reward leaders that are narcissists.
Absolutely.
And the systems that we've set up reward that kind of personality type
Yes.
to be put in that place, and it rewards it. The followers like it, and so the church systems that we have now, the way a lot of the institutions are set up, they reward that,
Yeah.
and we continue to be surprised by like, oh, what a narcissist is going to what? It's going to abuse people. It's going to treat people poorly. There's going to be all these bad things happening, and in the church, it's a machine now, and we don't ever question
Yes.
like the mechanisms and how it moves and how it works
well
and the
oiled.
systems.
That's
We
actually
don't question it.
I'm actually on my blog right now. I'm writing it's called The Machine, but it's
hmm
naming the mechanisms of patriarchy and what keeps it in motion, right?
Yeah,
Because it is a freaking machine and
yeah.
there's all these different parts, and naming those different parts is so important. Having these
hmm
conversations, because that's how we expose it. You cannot tear it down without exposing it for what it really is. And I
hmm
think that's the one beautiful thing about your book and all these different resources that we now have. I say this every time we have people on that have written something or put something out there, but
hmm
this is stuff that is out there to help people to see things differently
hmm
and in a
Hmm.
way that they may not have seen them before. And we may be reaching people that we don't even know that we're reaching.
hmm
When I talk to people all the time where, they'll have an encounter with somebody, and like a small encounter can literally change their life.
Yeah.
Picking up a book can change somebody's life.
hmm
So, I think it's so valuable having all these things out there because we don't know who we're reaching, but I just
hmm
really happy that there is hope, and
Yeah.
knowing that people are seeing, the light, and we are talking about it, and we are exposing this for what it is.
hmm
And we always ask people that are on our show.
I have a
So,
question for
oh,
him
go
too,
ahead.
so
Go
don't
ahead.
let me forget.
No, you ask your
I have
question.
to ask you
Yeah.
because you've deconstructed
hmm
and you had children.
hmm
I'm
Yeah.
sure they're like starting to get older now.
hmm
As a mom now that my children are in their young 30s and stuff, right?
hmm
I've asked them in an open letter to each of them to be a part of my deconstructing journey because I'm documenting it.
Mhm.
And I realized that the parents who do the work, or the first ones who decide to start deconstructing, that is not just my journey.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is not just something that I stop and to say I'm going to go by. That
Yeah.
affects everybody that is in your close circle
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
your close net, my children, in this incident. And each of them have watched me deconstruct and have come out at a different place and feel a different way. But I didn't realize that they had so many thoughts
Mhm.
about my journey
Yeah.
until
Mhm.
I asked them.
Mhm.
So, how do you approach your children? Are they young? Are they older? Where are they at? And how do you approach them when it comes to, religion and God and all of those things? Because they saw me growing up being like so profoundly dedicated and devoted, to now kind of being an anti-theist and saying, and it
Well,
does make a big difference. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They're like, and,
Yeah.
and they love the fact that it's liberating for me. I have two children, two boys that are atheist and probably Norse pagans, but they're more out there. And I have a daughter who was raised in it the longest, who has chosen to be non-denominational, and a part of the evangelical churches. So
Yeah.
that's a
No, it's not. I think for us, like, so I got 4 kids. Youngest is
didn't
18.
believe in TV.
Is no, no. When we raised them, we kind of raised them in an odd way to where we were always really honest with them.
Yes,
Okay.
Behind the
that's
scenes.
true.
So there was
That's
lots
true.
of the conversations where we were always just like, okay, here's what I'm gonna tell you is true, but you cannot repeat this at church. So there was certain things like that. It was like it's
I
like we were
love
like
that.
telling them the bad stuff, but
Yes.
we always wanted them to be able to question and to just understand who they were. And
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
so I think so we didn't do it perfectly. I think we were stumbling
No.
through
Yeah.
our process and
Yep.
in some middle part of our deconstruction, but we always tried to keep it really open and conversational. And so I think that they've just evolved kind of like we have as well too.
Yeah. I
Taken
love that.
a lot of what we had and what we were teaching them, but we were really just trying to get the heart of of stuff. Not like I need
Yeah.
them to memorize all of the scripture. My whole
Yes.
point was like I need them to understand what this is really about or like what it
Yes.
leads us to, because I can memorize the whole Bible and it doesn't feed a single person.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
It feeds my soul, but bullshit. It does. It's not
No.
feeding my soul if it's not leading me to go feed and help other people. So,
Yes.
Right. It's
Exactly.
like
yeah,
at the end of the day, what does it matter if I can say Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts,
Yep.
Romans, First and Second Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, First and Second Thessalonians.
and,
I don't even know popular songs,
yeah,
but I know every book of a
Yeah.
Bible.
yeah. But it
Yeah.
made us feel so good.
Oh,
For
it
Oh my
what
did.
God.
reason? For what
Yes.
reason? It's so
Exactly.
ridiculous. Yeah.
And it made us feel good to be able to
That I know
argue
every
it,
book of the
to be able
Bible.
to
You
Uh-huh.
cite
weren't
it.
impressed?
And the thing is, though, is the only people you can flex in front of with that is other believers, because the other people in the world think you're
Hmm.
stupid as hell.
Hmm. Yeah, I know.
So I apologize to the rest of the world that my host just called me stupid as hell because I know all the books of the Bible.
She said it in
Listen,
love. She said it in love.
I did.
Totally.
I said I love you. So, Stuart, if
I'm sorry.
somebody was just now starting their deconstruction journey, what
Oof.
kind of advice would you offer to them?
Be patient with yourself. Um, uh, yeah, really, just really be patient with yourself. And I
Can you
let
break that
yeah
down?
yeah
Can you give us a little bit of satire to
uh
help us out with that one?
yeah. I mean,
You
I
can
think
roast
it's
yourself. It's
it
okay.
is it's like learning a new skill.
Cathartic.
Like it's oddly enough like it's taking things apart. It's like learning to ride a bike. I think,
Yeah.
and after we've done something for so long, we can get very frustrated
Mm.
Yep.
with unlearning things.
Yeah.
Especially when it'd be easier for me to keep learning nonsense in the system I was in, but to unlearn those things, it's hard. And I think I would just say, I said be patient because it's going to be a journey, but I think it's a good one. And let your because I think at the point when a lot of people start deconstructing, I don't think they're able to trust their gut enough at the
Yeah.
very beginning. So the thing I would always say is follow your curiosity.
Yes.
God,
So
that's
Yes.
always.
that may be
And that
easier
comes
than
up
the gut.
all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time because curiosity is literally the main thing that continues to spark and fuel deconstruction. And it's why they
Mhm.
kill it so quickly in
Yeah,
religious spaces.
yeah.
It's why they tell you not to ask questions and they make you afraid to ask them. Because if we can control your curiosity, then we can control you.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yes.
that curiosity may be stuff that
Yes.
has nothing to do with religion.
Yes.
It may be nature. It could be anything, but it's just letting yourself be free to do those things.
Yes. It
In
literally
order to
can
be
just be like asking questions about alcohol that you have been told your whole life that was going to kill you if you took a sip of it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not
and
dead yet. Just kidding.
exactly.
I'm just saying that, I was raised teetotalers, no alcohol,
Yes.
TV, computers, there was nothing.
Yeah.
So every time I do something, I'm like, well, that didn't kill me.
I haven't made it to hell yet.
I,
I
it,
do
it,
know
it,
though
it
if I
seems
show
like,
up there, I'm going to be in good
Yeah.
company.
right, right. It's like
Yeah.
going to a movie theater for the first time. When I walked out, I was like, well, I'm not dead.
Yeah.
Bowling alley? What? It didn't kill
It
me?
was The Lion King, wasn't it? Your first movie? That
Oh
was
my
her
God.
first movie in the theater was The
Oh,
Lion
My
King.
wow.
first movie in the theater, and to this day, I have to tell you that it's still the scariest movie I ever watched was
I,
Lion King.
if you've never seen anything like that before, it absolutely. I mean, I
Yeah.
can totally see that. Yeah.
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 Never. I was like
Yeah.
27 years old, and I went into a theater by
Oh,
myself
wow.
without my kids, right? So I like snuck in, and I
Mhm.
was like sitting there. I was like crying. I was like, oh
Mm.
my God, the Lion King.
I'm sorry,
And
P.
you're
I
like,
get
I can feel the love tonight.
it.
Yeah.
But I'm horrified all at
Yeah.
the same
And you
time.
guys, when I walked out of that theater, I was like, I didn't die or go to hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's better to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask permission.
That's right.
See?
Amen. Amen.
See, that's your advice
Amen.
for today, everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
And go
Stuart,
watch Lion King. It's
yes, go on.
fine. You're
Yeah,
good.
and read Stuart's book.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for
Thank you.
hanging out with us,
Absolutely. It was
chatting
so much
about your
fun.
book. As
Mhm.
always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I'm definitely going to leave Stuart's links in our show notes so you can find him and check out his book. It's really funny and he's a really cool dude, and we're grateful for him to be here.
Yes. And
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
It's always so amazing and wonderful to read to do this podcast and see different perspectives and be
Mhm.
able to learn and heal and know that other people took the same tools that we may have took or not
Yeah.
the same tools, but definitely I love satire because I love not making fun like putting the religion down,
Mhm.
but in the perspective of I was once there.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
This is what I did. And a
Yep.
lot of times I question it now, like, oh my God, will I still go to hell about stuff? The internal loop, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And I was
Mhm.
like,
Yes.
leave the house dirty, open those closet doors.
We are rebels now
Absolutely.
because we're the
Fail.
awakening.
But thank you. And I am definitely putting your book on my list, and I
Mhm.
hope our listeners will too. And I can't wait to enjoy and read the whole book. But thank you today for joining us. We
A-
appreciate it.
Absolutely. And if people want to know this too, there's also a coloring book that is out
Oh
for
my
this
gosh,
as
I
well
didn't
too.
know you had a coloring book. That
Um,
is so freaking cool. I'm gonna
so
have to get that now.
and
Oh
it
my God, I'm a coloring book person. I got
it
them stacked next to my bed.
well, it just to tell you, it takes all of the tribulation scriptures and makes it look cute. Like this one, I saw when the lamb opened one of the seals. And if you can see it, it's a lamb opening a seal with
Okay,
a
I
knife.
got it.
So yeah. So
I
you get
have to
those.
have that.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
so
have
yes.
to order that. We are
Coloring
putting
books
it
are
in
fun
the
too.
notes.
So yeah.
I'm
I love
very
it,
sorry,
Stuart.
Stuart, that I just went crazy over your coloring book and not that crazy over your rule book, but now I've got to get the coloring book.
No, because it's dark humor and
Either
it's
works.
right
Yeah.
up our alley, so
Yeah.
it's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun. Thank you so much. And can we
Absolutely.
get that on Amazon?
Absolutely. You can find it on
Absolutely.
Amazon. Yeah.
Yep.
Guess where I'm going?
Religion has many victims, and these are the stories of how they survived.
The preceding podcast is solely owned by the host or hosts and is distributed by Big Media LLC. Copyright 2026.